we're going to race. Welcome to this episode of Heartbreak Garage. It is now the evening of the day that we took the bike back to the rolling road to see the fruits of my labour and whether I've actually made a difference to the power she's putting out and the delivery. And as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So I got myself some pudding, but I don't really like pudding. So the kind of pudding I like is the 12-year aged single malt kind, preferably from Scotland. So you see me dinking about inside the carburetor, messing with jets, playing with the AirBox. And now it's time to see whether we've actually made any difference to the overall power and peak horsepower, and see what we've actually managed to do. Brother Fonzie.
Yes.
What are you hoping for from this afternoon?
Riveter that works.
Apart from a riveter that works. Do you think we're going to make the numbers?
7.5 horsepower.
7.5 horsepower?
Yeah.
Okay, ambitious goals.
Yeah.
6.8 last time. Do you think your brother's just an idiot, or do you reckon he's actually made a difference?
A bit of both. I reckon.
Okay. Alright then, well, here we go.
But you've gone better.
That's improved, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's not just about the number. So you had 6.8 best previously. You've now got 6.9, which was a lot, but it's more area under the curve.
Right.
So if we take the red one out, which is when you were too rich, and just run the two against each other, so that's last visit to this visit, you've got a lot more area under the curve, which is better.
Yeah.
You're still a tiny bit rich.
Yeah.
But safe, if you like.
That is a safe amount, yeah.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
You could possibly go down a little bit more, or just give it a bit more air to counteract the extra fuel, rather than taking fuel out. Why don't you try giving it some more air?
So add some air. 7.2. That's better. Moving in the right direction.
Yeah. In fact, we got 7.3 on that last one. So it's clear the sevens now.
It's not all about maximum horsepower though, it's the usable horsepower as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you've got more area under the curve again, so that's good.
Yeah.
So we've got a few gaps in the curve because of the pickup not picking up very well on the ignition. But you can see your previous best was 6.8. Now you're at 7.2.
Yeah.
And you've got more area under the curve as well. So I could have revved it on further, but it's already on the decline. So yeah.
What horsepower? What RPMs are we reaching max?
There I only went to 9,500.
Right, okay.
I had gone somewhat further because you said you could rev it through to 11 if I wanted.
That's what they told me.
Yeah, but it's making peak horsepower at 8.
Right.
So there's not an awful lot of point in revving to 11.
Yeah.
Because you're actually not driving.
Not going any further. Yeah, exactly.
So you want to short shift a little bit.
In first and second.
If you want to short shift to sort of 9ish, so it drops back to sort of 7.5 and pulls through the peak again.
Yeah.
And we can have a look at where your torque curve is actually.
Well, it's improved generally.
Yeah. So I'd like to have a bit more. So sometimes, you either give it, change the fueling with the jets, or change the amount of air you're giving it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The amount of air we're giving it.
Yeah.
As well. because it was over rich, so that's fine, that's now sorted. It's happy enough with that, so you know you could just make some standoffs or just increase the amount of air it's getting.
Yeah, what I was thinking was I'd just
Another hole.
put another hole in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You're getting there though.
So there you have it. She was on the rollers and she was making better numbers. Sleepy Panda Racing's on. We've only got a few weeks, well, 6 or something weeks left until we have to be at Mallory Park, and everyone else may be ready, but we're going to try our best. Still got some messing about to do with gearing and bits and pieces, but we'll get to that. When we first took her to the dyno today, she was over fueling quite a bit, so we've had to tone it down a little bit, but the overall consensus is she does better with the modified standard airbox than she does with a K&N on it. And my theory is that the way I've set the airbox up, I've modified it inside and messed about with it, and I'm using the airbox more as a plenum chamber, so there's a build up or a quantity of stable air sitting in front of the carburettor rather than choppy unstable air being forced through the K&N. So it seems to be doing the trick anyway. So we picked up some horsepower. So as you can see, we've gone from 6.8 horsepower to 7.2, but the graph overall is much better. It's more neat and tidy, and I wasn't really not trying to go for huge numbers, but what we are trying to do is make a nice, you know, obviously we need to increase the horsepower, but we want it to be increasing and to be a nicer curve, a more usable power, because it's okay, you might have 10 horsepower at 12,000 RPMs, but there's no point in that, because if you've got 10 horsepower at 12,000, you're right at the top of your rev range and you can't go anymore. So we want to bring that down. So we're making peak horsepower now at like 9,500 RPMs, but we've got a nice steady grade all the way through. And that's what I'm aiming for. So we'll be messing around with more, but the going consensus is she's better off with the airbox with a plenum of air in front of it rather than the K&N. So that's what we're going to run for this season, and I'm just going to carry on trying to refine it and make some more subtle changes to try and get her going that bit better. And that's the plan. But we're on our stoichiometric value now. We're running right where we want to be with the air fuel ratio, so I'm well chuffed with that. So the engine's nice and safe, and that's another reason for dynoing it. I want to see whether the changes I'm making are actually safe changes and they're not going to hurt the engine, because on a long race like we've got coming up, or like they all are, you want to make sure that engine goes and doesn't give us any problems. So that's the point. And now we just need to set her up, get the gear ratio we want to run. You know, I'm thinking at the moment I'm running a 14 on the front and a 39 on the rear, but do we want to change that? Do we maybe want to go to a 15 on the front? I don't know, I haven't quite worked it out yet, because you've got to remember that 1 on the front is worth 3 on the back. So, you know, sort the gear ratio out, make sure the wheels are pointing in the right direction, and do a spanner check and we should be there. So roll on, Mallory. And if it don't fit, don't force it.